pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Rhoda, Hank and George, and the harbor master too.
No. Hello. I'm starting the sail pass this year. As soon as I can find my whistle. Where's my whistle? All the ships in the big harbor are going to sail right by here. It's like a parade on the water. Everyone is waiting for me to blow my whistle to start the sail pass. See? It's not there either. It's lost. The harbor master who can't find his whistle. I won't be able to start the sail pass now. This is silly. Now I know how Millie felt. You know, that's a good story for today. Hank and Barrington Barge had finished work and were at Barrington's dock, making silly faces. First, Hank scratched his face all up and puckered his lips. Barrington laughed and laughed. And finally, Hank couldn't help but laugh too. You see, there is nothing Hank likes more than a silly face. Hank said goodbye to Barrington and started off across the harbor to meet Theodore. They were going to practice quick turns around Bedford Buoy. But on his way, Hank saw something that made him stop. Out beyond the entrance to the harbor, there was a brightly colored fishing trawler, smiling a great big friendly smile right at him. I bet that boat would like to be friends, thought Hank. I'll go right over there and say hello. What Hank didn't know was that the fishing trawler, whose name was Millie, wasn't really smiling at him. She was having a hard time seeing where she should go. Do I go this way into the harbor, or do I go that way? Millie was saying to herself. Millie's problem was that she just couldn't see very well. No, I think I should go this way, Millie decided. And she turned her back to Hank, just when he was about to say hello. That's strange, thought Hank. Oh well, I'll go around the other way. Just when Hank was about to say hello again, Millie turned again. No, this must be the way, said Millie, feeling very confused. Hank was beginning to feel pretty confused, too. Every time he tried to say hello, Millie turned away. And they were beginning to go in circles. Stop, said Hank, who was getting a little dizzy. I mean, hello. I'm dizzy. I'm Hank. Not really, flustered Millie. Oh, I didn't see. I couldn't see. I can't see. Millie. My name is Millie. Oh, hi, Millie, said Hank. To Millie, Hank looked like a big, fuzzy thing with a blue blob on top. To Hank, Millie looked like a really great silly face maker. He giggled as she wiggled her eyebrows. He didn't know Millie was making faces because she was having trouble seeing. He thought she was just being silly. Why are you laughing, Hank? Millie asked. You make the best silly faces, said Hank excitedly. I know I'm going to like you. Millie smiled sweetly. Maybe she had been making silly faces, but she didn't care. She was afraid if anyone guessed she couldn't see very well, they wouldn't like her. Do you want to come and meet my friend Theodore? Asked Hank. Well, okay, said Millie happily. Great, said Hank. Follow me. And he headed across the harbor, with Millie following close behind. Hank couldn't wait to introduce his new friend to Theodore. And Millie was very glad to be led by her new friend into the big, fuzzy, mixed-up harbor. Theodore, shouted Hank. This is my new friend Silly, and she makes the best Millie faces. Make one for Theodore, Smillie. Hank was speaking all in a rush and getting his words mixed up. Hi, there, said Theodore, who wasn't too sure what to say. Hi, I'm Millie. Silly Millie, said Millie. Then she opened her eyes really wide and sort of rolled them around. Well, that really is a silly face, laughed Theodore. And it was Millie's best silly face. If Theodore and Hank just think I'm silly, Millie thought to herself, then maybe they won't notice I can't see too well. Millie looked hopefully at her two new friends floating in front of her. Now, there was a red fuzzy blob to go with the blue fuzzy blob. Then Hank had an idea. I know, he said. Let's all practice quick turns around Bedford. Good idea, Hank, said Theodore. Good idea, dinged Bedford. Good idea, gulped Millie, not feeling so silly anymore. Come on, Millie, it'll be fun, said Hank. It's very fun, dinged Bedford. Well, okay, squeaked Millie, but just in a little voice. She was very nervous. Theodore could see that Millie seemed nervous about something, but before he could say anything, the countdown began. Get ready, proclaimed Bedford in his most official voice. I'm ready, called Hank. Get set. Set, Millie said slowly. Go. Fast Hank was first. He vroomed his engine and raced towards Bedford, making the turn so quickly, Bedford started dinging and bobbing in the water. Theodore was close behind. He vroomed and swooshed, making Bedford ding and bob even more. And then came Millie. She was right behind the red and blue fuzzy blobs, until they disappeared. Well, they didn't disappear exactly. They made their turns around Bedford, who was another fuzzy and dinging blob to Millie, but by then, she was going so quickly, she couldn't tell one blob from another. So she panicked, and vroomed and swooshed and turned right out into the middle of the mixed-up harbor. And straight into the path of Pearl, the pilot boat. It was very close, but Pearl managed to swerve away just in time. And then, everything just stopped. Pearl turned towards Millie and looked at her. You must watch where you're going, she said. Otherwise, someone could get very hurt. And with that, Pearl turned and left. That evening, Hank and Theodore decided to visit their new friend at her dock. They thought Millie could use some cheering up after her near accident with Pearl. But something else was bothering Theodore. Hank, said Theodore, do you think Millie is acting a little, strange? Well, said Hank slowly, she does make an awful lot of silly faces. And she did miss going around Bedford altogether, added Theodore. Neither Tug knew what to say after that. It seemed that something was wrong. But what could it be? Millie wasn't at her dock when they arrived, so they decided to look for her. They heard a kind of bumping sound. It sounds like it's coming from over here, Hank. Not too far away. They found Millie. Well, bumping around. Oh, excuse me, said Millie to an old bumper. Oops, sorry, she said to the dock. Hi, Millie, said Hank in his best cheering-up voice. Oh, hi, Theodore, Millie said to Hank. And then she turned and said, Hi, Hank. But she said it to the old bumper. Millie, we're over here. In the dark, Millie couldn't tell a blue blob from a red blob from any blob. Millie, I'm Hank, said Hank. Oh, said Millie, looking in the wrong direction and trying to smile. I know that. I'm just being silly. Millie, said Theodore a little slowly. We're over here. can't you see us? Millie tried and tried to make out their shapes in the dark. Of course I can see you, she said, her voice getting smaller. It's just that you're kind of fuzzy. Gee, Millie, said Theodore in a soft voice. If you can't see us very well, maybe you should go to the repair dock for help. Well, Millie knew that Theodore was right, but she didn't want to ask for help. What if they couldn't help her? Hank understood just how Millie was feeling. They're very nice at the repair dock, he began. If anyone can help you, they can. And then he moved very close to Millie. And, if you like, I'll take you there, he added in a very gentle voice. You will? Asked Millie. Sure I will, said Hank. I'm your friend. We're both your friends, added Theodore. Well, that made Millie smile all over. She was beginning to feel better already. The next day, it was Theodore's job to move Barrington Barge. Hey, Theodore, do you know Silly Millie? Asked Barrington. Everyone says she can make great silly faces. Well, I know Millie, replied Theodore with a big smile, but she's not so silly anymore. Look. And there was Millie, with Hank right by her side. And now, on Millie's nose was a big, shiny pair of new glasses. Wow, said Barrington. Those glasses are so fresh, said Hank. Fresh was the best word he could think of. Thank you, said Millie shyly. Everything was so bright and colorful. It was like making friends with the world all over again. That's just how everything looks to me, smiled Millie, looking around. Fresh and clear and wonderful. Well, I'm really glad you can see better now, Millie, said Theodore with a big smile. Me too, said Hank. But I'm sure going to miss your silly faces. Well, said Millie slowly, I know something I'm not going to miss. I'm not going to miss seeing your silly faces, because now I can really see you. And I'd love to see a silly face right now. Sure, said Hank. Hank made his very best silly face, and everyone laughed. Even Hank. After all, there's nothing Hank likes more than a silly face, even if it's his own. Well, right now I can see everyone waiting for me to start the sail past. I still can't find my whistle. I'm just going to do what Millie did. Hello, Theodore! Yeah. Could you do me a big favor? See, I lost my whistle. Could you blow your whistle and start the sail past? Great. Thanks, Theodore. And thank you for visiting us here in the big house. We'll see you all again next time. There they go. Oh, boy.